everyone, welcome back to Hmong Woman Now. Again, it's Linda. I'm excited to be here again. It's been a while since I've been here. So today we have Nancy here with us. And so I'm extremely excited because Nancy comes with a very different background very different from everyone that I've talk with. As always, I am going to tell you guys a little bit about Nancy, and then I'm going to give her an opportunity to tell you who she is, and then we'll go ahead and dive into her background. And so if you have any questions, please stick around, and you're welcome to ask any of your questions at the very end. If you do miss asking her questions, if you do miss out on that part of the interview today, I encourage you to ask her afterwards, because we will be here and we will answer any questions you have. So Nancy, welcome to Hmong Woman Now. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me.
Yes, okay. So I'm going to start off by just introducing Nancy, just a little bit about her, and then maybe she can chime in with more details. Okay, so Nancy had shared with me that she received her Bachelor of Arts in Communicative Disorders and Deaf Studies with an emphasis on speech language pathology from CSU Fresno, so California State University in Fresno. She's worked as a board certified autism technician and behavior therapist for children with autism. And right now she's a freelance writer. She's also a model and she found this awesome organization she called VNANC. Am I right? Is it VNANC or is it VNANC?
Yes. VNANC.
Okay, V.NANC. All right, so she found that amazing organization, and we'll talk a little bit about it in the next few minutes. So Nancy, again, welcome. Go ahead and just tell us a little bit more if I missed on anything.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Well, anyway, hi everyone. My name is Nancy. I was born here in Fresno, California, but I grew up and spent the first half of my life in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. I moved back here in 2007. And I'm the middle child in my family. I have 2 older siblings and 2 younger siblings. I'm the first in my family to graduate from college and receive my bachelor's degree in Communicative Disorders and Deaf Studies, emphasis on speech-language pathology. Throughout my life, I've always worked positions with kids and students. I've volunteered a lot in multiple elementary schools around Fresno and Clovis. Throughout the course of my college education. I got my BA in CDDS, and after graduating, I worked as a behavioral therapist for children with autism. My current hobbies and work right now is writing, modeling, and model managing, and that's why I started VNANC. And I currently work on all.
Awesome. Sorry, at the very end, it just pushed out a little bit, but I'm pretty sure we caught everything in between. So thank you for sharing that, Nancy. We're going to start off right away by asking a little bit about your background, okay? So your educational background. So earlier, Nancy had mentioned that she graduated from CSU Fresno, and she received, again, her undergraduate degree in communicative disorders. Also, she had an emphasis on speech language pathology. So before we ask her a little bit about her background in education, I forgot to mention, if Nancy didn't mention, Nancy is only 23, so she's accomplished a lot in that short period of time. So that's fascinating. So Nancy, I want you to explain to us a little bit about what communicative pathology is. What is that field?
Okay, Communicative Disorders and Deaf Studies is a very broad major. It encompasses a lot of majors within it, but it focuses on issues related to speech, hearing, and language. So professionals in this field provide diagnostic, rehabilitative, and educational services to children and adults with communicative challenges. So yeah, and I focus on speech language pathology within it.
Okay, so then is it a requirement to have let's see, kind of like a minor, right? Because you received your degree in communicative disorders and deaf studies, but there was an emphasis on speech language pathology. So kind of like a minor, is it?
It's not a minor, it's a major of its own, because the whole, communicative disorders and deaf studies, the term is very broad and very general. It oversees like all the majors within it. So it focuses on speech, hearing, and language. So for speech would be speech language pathology, for hearing would be audiology, and for deaf education and ASL, that would just go into interpreting. And so it has like 3 majors within it. So it oversees like a lot of different things. And the main focus of having emphasis is just like, this is the field that I really want to pursue and go into graduate program for.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that for us. So just to clarify it a little bit further, okay, so we would, it's safe to say that anyone who's a major in communicative disorders and deaf studies, they're either in one, such as speech language pathology, or the other two that is available, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's deaf education, sign language interpreting, audiology, and then speech language pathology within the general CDDS. Yeah,
okay.
So it has a lot within it.
Okay, that's really good to know. So if you can just tell us a little bit, for those of us who may not know exactly what it entails, what is speech language pathology? What does it focus on?
Okay, so speech language pathology is within the realm of CDDS, of course. It focuses on normal speech development and like things such as like swallowing disorders, voice disorders, like the quality of your voice, or your vocal folds, like how your anatomy works. It focuses on articulation, fluency disorders such as stuttering. So stuttering is a problem that we work on a lot too. So that's the field of study for speech language pathology.
Wow, that's so interesting because, I feel like I have like a extremely small problem with stuttering. So, it's not very something that people can notice, but sometimes I stuttered, I'm like, I believe everybody stutters. And so I catch myself doing it a lot, and that I feel like it's something that my brain plays with me. And so I know this is probably like not about your education courses, but can you tell us a little bit about, when you learned about it, did you learn at all about how stuttering occurs? Is it something that the brain plays with you, or is it something that you're born with because of genetics, or?
Okay, when we learned about stuttering, our professor made it clear to us, like, there's a normal level of stuttering that everyone has and everyone does, just because of nerves and just, stage fright, general stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But the ones that we focus on are the stuttering that's more severe in a lot of cases for like our clients and everything. And there are many estimated causes for it, but actually there's no real known cause for stuttering. So people are still trying to figure out like what's the real cause for stuttering. So people do say that it could possibly because of genetics, or it could be from like brain trauma, or just your overall anatomy. It could just be because of that, but there's just estimates. There's not a known cause for stuttering. And we're just like, okay, so we don't know. All right, we're going to keep studying it.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting to know. That's very interesting for me because, I work with kids, and, we have kids coming from all different backgrounds, and especially I have some students who stutter a lot who has like a severe case of stuttering. And so I've always wondered, is it genetics? Is it something because they're nervous about it? So that's really good to know that it's something that is unknown at the moment, but we're still trying to figure it out. So thank you for sharing that. What I want to ask you next is, how did you get into this field? Did you start off right away by going into this field, or did you, were you lost like so many of us and you were trying to figure your way around?
I was actually undeclared for the first year of college, and I didn't know what to pursue at all. And I was just experimenting with some courses, and I took a gerontology course, which was actually within the building of CDDS, and I didn't know it at the time. And outside of the classroom, when I would wait for class to start and everything, there was a bulletin board. On the bulletin board, there was like flyers and pamphlets for ASL, so American Sign Language. Yeah. And I was really interested. I was like, let me try that out. And so I took some ASL course in it. I first declared in deaf education because it's everything I love, like students and kids, and incorporating sign language as well. And I decided that it wasn't for me. So I switched from deaf education to interpreting because I was like, I really love sign language. I really want to like do something with that. And from interpreting, I met a lot of students within my classes who are majoring in speech language pathology, and they were telling me about it. And I got like so interested. I was like, let me check this out. I never heard it before, right? And so I did some research on it, and I talked to a lot of advisors, a lot of professors about it. I was like, so like, tell me about this. Tell me about speech language pathology, and let me see where what it's about. And so after I tried out a few classes and I talked to the advisors and everything, I just developed like a real passion for it. And I actually really enjoyed the classes, and I really loved like learning about it. And and everyone's always saying like, oh, if you go for SLP first, you're guaranteed a career after you get your master's. It's just like, it's very open. Like the job market for it is just like so available for anyone. anyone who has their master's in it, they can just get any like position.
Okay.
So it's very open.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that when once you got into, you really liked the courses, you really liked the classes, was really interesting. So if you can just share a little bit about that with us, what are the courses like? What are they focus on? What do you get out of it?
I think for me, when I go to school, I like learning about concepts and theories, and the majority of the coursework focuses on explaining and understanding like the concepts and theories behind things. Like, why do we do this? Why does this like happen or whatever? So so the coursework mainly does revolve around theories and explaining that. And then there's a lot of group activities, a lot of group projects, and a lot of just cumulatives in general for each like course that you take in SLP. And so you get to meet a lot of new people. You get to talk and communicate and interact with your peers, and you work together on these projects. And it's a lot of fun. I think working with other people really helped me break out my shell as well. And it's just, and it didn't require a lot of the things that I struggle with. Like, I love to write, and I love to work with others, and I love to kind of understand and grasp concepts and stuff, and that it incorporated everything that I love doing. Yeah. And it didn't have like any hard stuff like numbers, because I'm really bad with numbers. So it was just like that. And there's a lot of exams. It's like an overwhelming amount of information, but when you work together like in study groups and stuff, it usually lightens the load.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say are the opportunities that are available after getting a degree in this particular major? So if somebody has declared that they want to be in this pathway, what are the possibilities after completing this?
Okay, after getting your BA, you can either work in the field doing ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis. So like working with kids with autism, like how I did, or working with special needs. And or you can also go as a SLPA, which is a speech English pathology aide, and work alongside an actual speech English pathology pathologist. Or you could pursue your master's and go into the graduate program and work in private practice, in schools, in hospitals, or like centers.
So if somebody were to go for their master's and they do go into that, those opportunities are open up to them. Do you know what particular responsibilities would they hold that is different from somebody who has just a BA?
Oh, yeah, they have more responsibilities. Of course, when they have their masters, they have more control over what they're doing. Because once you get your masters, you're kind of like pushed to that level of like your original. You can actually diagnose people and really help with the treatment procedures and all that stuff. So you get to do like so much more when you have your masters, and the pay is really good. I hear the pay is amazing, and a lot of people who are in the graduate program, they already started working just within the graduate program.
Yeah. Okay, that's so interesting. So would it be necessary at all to go for like a doctorate if somebody wanted to?
Yeah, if they wanted to go for their PhD, then definitely they can go for that. The majority of the people that I've heard who went for their PhD ended up teaching it and going back to the universities and teaching speech English pathology. And we do need more professors teaching it, because a lot of people usually just settle for the masters, because there's so many benefits already at having your masters as an SLP. So a lot of people don't go that further step to go get their PhD, because it's like, oh, I have everything right here, you know? Yeah. So, but if you really want to and get your PhD, then you can actually teach it and like help students and learn about it.
Okay, so with a master, it's sufficient to be called a speech language pathologist. Is that what it is?
Pathologist. Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting. So the VA would assist. Okay, so the VA would assist the pathologist, right? Okay, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, VA.
Go ahead.
Sorry, he's lagging.
Okay, I was gonna say that's really cool, because I'm thinking about, somebody who probably has that degree and is interested in becoming a teacher, not like a professor, but a teacher, right? Because they could actually go and just get their credentials and work in special ed. They couldn't go that route.
Yeah, of course. Right? Yeah, there are many different routes that you can take with this, with BA and with your master's. You could take this major pretty much anywhere. It really entails like what you want to do. And if you want to focus on children, you focus on children. You want to focus on adults, you can really go anywhere with it.
Yeah. Is there like a state test that is required at all once you complete your major?
Once you complete your major,
so like your degree in
SLP?
Or just like what you have right now, did you have like a state test that you had to complete in order to be certified?
To be in to have my bachelor's, or?
Well, okay. Well, I guess I'm not making sense because maybe because I don't I don't know how to word it. But then after you completed your degree, you became a certified autism technician. And so is that something that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. You have to take a state test to become a board certified autism technician, and that's on your own time. That's not incorporated with the degree. I decided to take that extra step and I became board certified just to work within the field of behavior, ABA, and with kids with autism.
Okay.
So it would require a test.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it would require a test to become board certified.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you just get your BA, it's just courses.
Okay, so before we shift on over to the work that you've done with your degree, I want to kind of just ask you a question about, are you considering at all in the future to continue your education, or what's your plan for the future?
I definitely want to pursue my master's in it. Probably next year. Next year is my goal to apply for a graduate program, because I'm still debating on which graduate program to really apply for. Right now, I love doing what I'm doing right now. I love working with the creative community and volunteering and really investing myself in that and really seeing where it takes me. I love doing that. But for sure, I do want to continue and get my master's and continue my education along speech English pathology, because it is where my passion lies.
Okay, so I know we're going to shift over to the work that you've done. So you've shared that you do a lot of volunteer and you work a lot with kids. And so you've worked specifically as a board certified autism technician. So if you can share a little bit with us what that is, what were your responsibilities?
Okay, as a board certified autism technician, I did one-on-one therapy with my clients with kids with autism, and I would usually conduct lessons with them every day and incorporate those lessons within their daily routines. And we had to be really on point with those things, with the lessons, and really implementing them and tracking down their target behaviors as well. So those are my main responsibilities as a behavior therapist. I would conduct lessons and be with the kids pretty much from school to home to the clinic, and really help them navigate through their daily lives.
Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of speak out of experience. As a teacher, again, I work with students who have speech problems as well, and I've been to meetings where they communicate with the speech pathologist online, and then they have like an assistant next to them who would help assist the student with the work, with the assignment, and just kind of like you mentioned, just keeping track of how they're doing. Is that something that you were responsible for? Is that what it is, or?
Yes, those are probably behavior therapists with the kids there. When we go help them at school settings, that's what we're mainly there to do. We're there to assist the child, make sure they're conducting themselves in a way that they're socially normal and accepted. Okay. And we're just there to help track their behaviors as well. We usually track our behaviors on iPads, and we also try to incorporate some lessons within their lessons that they're learning in school. Yeah. That's what we're doing with them, and really focusing on tracking down data of like their target behaviors, because we really want to reduce those behaviors that we're targeting.
Yeah. I think that's so cool. It's so interesting. I think that's like that the job that someone holds, that's what you're describing. I think it's an amazing job that they're doing, because it's just so interesting to see somebody, working on other people's speech and trying to help them to improve it. So I think it's amazing what you did, or what you still hope to accomplish, right? So my question for you, the next question is, when you were working as a autism technician, what was like one of the most challenging thing about being a autism technician?
Okay, the most challenging would be dealing with the aggressive behaviors.
Okay.
As you can see, I'm a very skinny, a small Asian girl. And usually when the clients like my height and they tend to have tantrums or aggress, I would have to manage and de-escalate the situation. And that was the most challenging part of the position because it really escalates really fast, and you really have to know how to maintain to de-escalate the situation in the most productive and like fastest way possible.
Yeah.
And you really have to be patient. It's really hard to deal with someone throwing things at your face or like trying to slap you or kick you, and to deal with that, it drains us. It drains us mentally and emotionally and physically. So that was the most challenging part of the position.
Wow. And you did mention that it's like a one-on-one kind of session thing, right?
Yeah, it is one-on-one. We work with our clients separately, so it would just be one-on-one therapy that we do with them.
So what are some reasons why they would, what would take them to, behave the way that they are?
Just like any other kid, if they don't get what they want, they're going to lash out. They're going to tantrum for it. And that usually sets them off. Just with any kid, when you tell them they can't have something, then they're going to get upset with you.
Yeah.
But the case with our clients and stuff, when they do get upset, it really escalates. And that's when we have to really step in and de-escalate the situation. And it could get really dangerous for not just for us, but for the child.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of just thought about this from the top of my head because we mentioned about, taking a test to be certified as an autism technician, but we never really talked about how to go down that route. So if you can, let's, step back a little bit, and if you can tell us how to go down that route. So if once somebody completes their degree in speech pathology, and if they want to go down the same path that you did, what should they do?
Okay, the awesome thing about how general and broad is that within it, we also had to take courses from each other major. So when I was studying my emphasis on speech language pathology, I was still required to take courses focusing on audiology, or courses focusing on ASL, and courses focusing on ABA. So I did learn from my classes during college about ABA, applied behavior analysis, and I did learn about reinforcement and all those procedures and those scenarios that we had to deal with at my job. And that kind of prepared me for it. And I think if you were to proceed in this field, communicative disorders and deaf studies is like the perfect major to go into, because it really sets you up for positions like this, positions with special needs children, or kids with autism, and just kids in general, because this major really helps you deal with children. Yeah, so if you really want to go for ABA, then definitely I say try out communicative disorders and deaf studies, because they teach you about it anyways. And you had to learn about it anyways. So if you really want to go for it, take that. And then there are a lot of different offices and clinics here in Fresno and just in place that provide positions for behavior therapists that you can check out. And they do a 2-month or 1-month training for it, for anyone who wants to learn as well.
Okay, so once you receive the training, do you get certified, or you get the training and then you take a state test, pass the state test, and be certified?
After your training, you work as a behavior therapist. You have to allow some time to gain some experience and some hours collected before you're able to take the test to certify yourself. Because the test, it's all scenario based. The test that they give you, it's just like, what would you do in this scenario? And you only learn that through experience. So you have to have the experience first before, doing well in the exam. And even following the exam, you will have to keep up with your supervision hours. So you always have to have a BCBA there to supervise you on certain hours of your work up to the level that they want you to be as a behavior therapist.
Okay, this is so cool. To me, it's so interesting because, I've never spoken to anybody who came from this background. And so to me, it's so cool to know this. And I'm just kind of like, if I had a second shot, or, if I'm able to take as many majors I want, I would love to experience all of these fields because it has a lot to do with kids and I love kids. And so thank you for sharing that piece. Let's shift on back over to your professional background. And so I know that you worked as a certified autism technician for a while, and then you kind of resigned from that and you became a freelance writer. And so how did that happen?
I was going through some difficult health problems at the time, and with the job, I loved my job as a behavior therapist. It was so rewarding working with the kids and really seeing them take in the lessons that you give them and seeing them progress and learn from you. And they're just so loving, and it was so rewarding. And I really wanted to stay, but since I was going through the health issues at the time, I just didn't have the capability to stay and maintain my level of therapy that I wanted to give out and treat.
Yeah.
So I had to resign from that and move on to working on myself and really getting and recovering. And through my recovery, I was able to just focus on the hobbies that I really enjoyed doing. And one of them was writing, and I really enjoyed writing because I've always written, and ever since I could pick up a pencil, I've always written stories and shared them with other people. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel like a job to me. So with freelance writing, I was able to have a platform where I was able to voice my thoughts and opinions and everything. And people would come to me like, oh, we really enjoy your pieces and stuff. Like, could you write for this? Could you write an article for that? And then I started going into that more and more and more. And then now it's just, I do it freelance and it's awesome. Like, I love it.
Okay. So I know there are a lot of people out there that actually, they love to write, but then they keep the writing to themselves. So for example, me, I love to write, but, like you said, I wrote a lot of stories too, but, I keep it to myself and things like that. I know how to put it out there. And so my question for you is for anyone who is, extremely interested in writing, who wants to make that become who wants to make that a career, if somebody wants to make writing a part of their career, because I know you have a little experience with that. What is freelance writing and what does it offer somebody who wants to focus just on writing?
Freelance writing is basically you're your own boss. People, they employ you to write articles for different causes. Like you could write for newsletters, for magazines, for newspapers, or just online articles and websites, stuff like that. So it's really, you can set up your own rate, or they can suggest a rate, and either you take it or you leave it. And it allows you a lot of freedom with your writing and a lot of freedom over your choice of which assignments to take in. And so how I started was actually I wrote for the Asian Pacific Review at Fresno State on campus. It was part of the Collegian. And I started writing for that. And from there, an editor from the Fresno Bee was able to pick up my pieces. I was like, hey, we really like your writing. We want to feature it on the Fresno Bee. And then they featured on the Fresno Bee. And once my work started getting published and everything, more people were able to find me and reach out to me and ask me to help them and everything. So I really think if you want to proceed with freelance writing and everything, to really take those risks and those opportunities that are given to you, like your school paper, right? For an open submission competition, just like take every opportunity you can to write and to showcase your writing skills. So that way people can actually see your ability and they'll employ you and give you more opportunities.
Yeah, that's so cool. I admire that because, like I said, I always love writing. And so the fact that you were able to experience that and, people reached out to you, that's super awesome. And so the next question I have for you is, what is one of the most challenging thing about being a freelance writer?
The most challenging thing, when I struggle to think of something to write, that's the most challenging thing, writer's block. And having to, when there's a deadline and you have writer's block, you're completely screwed. There's nothing you can do. It's I want to put this idea on paper, but I can't. It's just I'm stuck. I can't find the words. And every writer goes through writer's block. And that's the most challenging part for me, because when I want to write about something, and I can't find the words, and I know I have the words, they're in me, but I just can't put them on paper, and then I like struggle with that. So that's the most challenging part.
Mhm. Okay. And then on the flip side, what is the most rewarding thing about being a freelance writer?
The most rewarding thing, it would have to be really having my pieces like have an actual impact on others. Like when people reach out to me and they're like, yeah, your piece about this, like I could really relate to it. And it's like you put my thoughts and my experiences and my feelings on paper and on in words. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy it when my writing resonates with people and their experiences. It makes me feel connected to others that I've never even met before. But then these people are telling me like, oh, I felt that too. And you really explained it perfectly. Like that's what I love about writing.
Okay. So what piece of advice do you have for people who are, beginning writers who are, struggling to put a piece together, or who are struggling with grammar and trying to just, write a piece that would be engaging and, wouldn't be boring and, with the right kind of vocabulary, right?
Mm-hmm. My advice would be to read, read a lot of books. I think the main reason why I even started writing in the first place is because I was a huge bookworm when I was a kid, and I read so many books,
Yeah.
and I was able to pick up on different writers' writing styles,
Mm-hmm.
and from there, you're like each writer that I'm reading from like their books, like they all have their own specific style, the way they like interpret world experiences and the way they put it on paper is all completely unique. And then you develop your own kind of unique writing style. And from there on, you're able to kind of speak your truth. Because I know when I write my truth. I write what I know to be true, how I feel and how I truly process like everything going around me. And if you write from a place of passion and a place of like heart and truth, that's when you come out with like the best pieces, honestly. And if you struggle with grammar and stuff, that could be easily fixed. I mean, that's why editors exist. And yeah, just take up some English courses, and really like if that's where you struggle, but you love to write, then just work on the grammar, punctuation part. You can learn that. Anyone can learn that. But then writing and the passion of writing, like people have to be kind of like born with the passion to write to actually produce good writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this punctuation you struggle with, you can learn that easily. Just take some English classes.
Yeah. I can see that you're very passionate about this. The way you talk about it's like you're so passionate about the writing piece. And so that's great, because like you said, you write the truth. And so I can see that you're very passionate about it. So that's why when you read it, like you share, it's rewarding because it relates to other people. So that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that part as well. Now I kind of want to move over to what you're also doing on the side. Now it's fascinating to me because you have, these awesome hobbies and you're so passionate about all of them. And it's not just something you're doing that it's just, very tiny and small and not important, but it's something that you do that is impacting a lot of people. And it's actually really amazing work that you're doing. So the next piece that I'm going to talk with you about is about VNATS. You found VNATS. So tell us a little bit about VNATS. What is VNATS?
Okay, so VNATS is just a public page that I created, and I kind of branded the name too. It just so happened that I branded it. My mission is to help young aspiring models in our community to obtain modeling opportunities, to really develop their portfolios in a safe professional manner, because, in this modeling industry, you can get into a lot of dangerous situations, and I see that a lot. And so I just want to provide a safe place for people to really pursue their creativity and like fashion or modeling, whatever they want to do around the creative aspect of it. And I really want to help them do it and guide them, but I want to make sure they're like safe while they're doing it. I'm like, yeah, like you guys want to chase this dream, you guys have passion for it, but make sure you guys are doing it in a safe, professional manner, because you can totally fall off and like get yourself into very sticky situations with that. And that's why I started VNATS. It really was to connect with others also, and to make a difference and to find a purpose for myself, because I was going through a lot of health issues, and VNATS kind of like was born after like I was going through really difficult times. And I really wanted a purpose and a way to contribute to our creative community. And that's why I began it, and I started helping models who would reach out to me, be like, hey, like, we love how you're taking these photos. We want to know how you did it. And I'll be like, okay, for sure. I'll help you guys out. And then it just erupted to what it is now. And yeah, I love it so much. It really feeds my soul.
Yeah, I can see the passion again, and I love that you're really talented, and you're so talented in the arts. I can see that with your writing, and then now you're in modeling. And so, if you can tell us a little bit about your modeling background. So I know that Nancy, you're trying to provide a safe environment for women. And so my question is, what got you into modeling, and if you've had experience yourself with professional modeling?
Oh, yes. So I got into modeling completely by accident, too. The thing was, I was extremely camera shy. I was terrified every time someone whipped out a camera. I wanted to hide. I wanted to be like, no, don't put me on camera or anything. And I had a friend on Facebook reach out to me to model one of her pieces for a fashion show, for Revived fashion show, if anyone has ever heard of that. Shout out to Revived. Well, anyways, she asked me to model a piece for her. And at that time in my life, I really wanted to overcome my fears. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this as a challenge. I'm going to overcome this fear. I'm going to have cameras on me, and I'm going to just have to deal with it. And so I did, and I tried it out, and afterwards, I felt so proud of myself. I was like, wow, I didn't think that shy little me could ever like put myself in this position where I'm like walking down a runway and having like so many cameras on me, and I'll be like, I made it, like I'm completely fine, like I didn't die. And so I was like, you know what, I want to keep doing this. And then from then on, I was able to network with other photographers, and then I started really liking the networking aspect of it. It was really fun to like meet new people over and over again, and that's the thing that I loved in my major with speech English pathology, and that's working in groups and teams and working with different people, like meeting new people and be like, oh, what's your life about? Like, tell me your life story and everything. And then it just feels like very thrilling to like always have share these new impressions and new experiences with different people. And so that's what I really loved about it. And that continued me on, and I kept working with more and more photographers, and my networking circle just increased by like double, and it just kept going. And from there on, that's how I help my models now. It's just I use the photographers that I've networked with and I connected with, and I network them and connect them to each other. And then that's how they grow their networking circles too. And it's just like seeing everyone just like connect, and like I'm like, wow, like everyone's just coming together and working together. So that's like awesome.
If you would have never told me that story, I would have never guessed that, you didn't feel confident. You were very shy on camera. Yeah, because, with the pictures you've shared with me, with the pictures that, if people have not seen your page and the modeling that you've done, when I look at it, you look stunning. You look so confident, and it looks great. And so I would have never guessed that you were struggling with that, side. But I love the fact that you challenged yourself and you went for it and you overcame it, and you're doing an amazing job. And now that you're also helping women, to not only model, but to do it in a safe environment. And so that's what you're doing is amazing. So thank you, Nancy. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Now, the next question I have for you is, this one's going to be random. I kind of thought about it right now because we're talking about confidence. Any of the women that join V.Nance, do you have any women that approach you, with low self-esteem? Because I know, or are they already confident when they reach out to you? Hey, I want to model. Can you help me out?
I do get people who ask me to help them, and they are already confident. But then the majority of the team that I have, they started off with low like confidence, and they're like, really, like, I have this passion, I have this dream, but I'm really afraid. Like, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to convince the people around me to like encourage me with this. And I need something. Like you could tell that they just needed to like switch a flip within them, and like kind of just take what they're passionate about and really go for it. And so it really, like, a lot of them started with low confidence, and then as they progressed and as they worked more and they networked more and connected with more people, you can start seeing like their smile became more genuine, their posing became more confident, and it's just like, wow, like they're really growing too. And that's what I love seeing these young girls like really build their confidence and really like before they had limitations for themselves, before they're like, oh, I can only model for fun. Like I can't do anything with modeling or whatever. And then afterwards they're like, yeah, I really want to go for it. You know, this is my passion. This is my dream. I'm going to go for modeling. I'm going to make something of myself. And that's what's so awesome about it. It's like they started me with this low kind of like, wishy-washy, like I'm not too sure, like not too confident about it. And then at the end they're like, yeah, I know what I want. Like I know that I can do this. And that's awesome. Like the ones who do come to me with confidence already, like even them, like they improve like so much. Their confidence goes through the roof afterwards.
Yeah.
And it just comes with like readily available opportunities. So like once you give them opportunities, they're like grateful for it, and then they like take it on and then keep going with it.
Okay. I don't think I asked you. If I already did, you can probably correct me or just tell me again. But why did you start V.Nance?
Oh, I started V.Nance to help the young aspiring models in our community to really obtain those opportunities, because there are opportunities out there, but not many people know of them. And so my main goal is to like be like, oh, you want this and the opportunities right here. Let's connect you two together, and there you go. So that was my main purpose of V.Nance, and that's why I told people like I like the managing aspect of it. I don't very much coach because I don't feel like I'm credible in like coaching modeling specifically. I feel like I'm still learning myself, and I love the girls under me learning along with me. But with the managing and the coordinating and the hey, connect with this person, connect with that person, that's what I love doing, and that's what I mainly focus on.
Okay, all right, that makes so much more sense to me now. So at first I was assuming that it's V.Nance was coaching, but then it's more like a networking where you're getting these, that's why you're talking about safe environment, because you're getting these girls, you're connecting with people you've worked with, people you know that are going to them, right?
Yeah, so it makes it much more safer. Like when I connect with people that I know are good and genuine, and I know would treat them with respect. So that's what I'm about. And yeah, even still, I give them tips on how to pose and coaching and all that stuff. But that's not where my passion really lies in coaching, because I don't feel like I'm licensed and credible enough to coach everything. But for sure, like I'll give them tips and advice from what I learned in my experience modeling.
So the question I have is, why did you begin this? What made you decide to try and find a safe place for women? Is it because when you were doing it, you experienced some kind of, uncomfort, or some kind of, experience where you felt that this situation was dangerous for you, or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, because like when I first started modeling, and I was really, there were a lot of situations that I got myself in that I could have avoided if I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't have someone to tell me, be like, hey, you don't have to be treated like that. Hey, you don't have to be in that situation at all. And I wish that there was someone there for me to be like, hey, like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can still progress in this field. You can still do so much in this industry, but you don't have to endure that kind of like ridicule, endure that critique or that mistreatment or disrespect. And so that is the main reason why I wanted to start this and really kickstart everything with helping these young aspiring models.
Well, I love that. So it's kind of like they start off kind of they do start off in a safe place, because you have a mission of providing a safe place. And not only that, they start with women, right? A bunch of women together. You guys kind of started together, right? And
I try to like create this like team kind of atmosphere, like, hey, we're here to help each other, uplift one another, and really like root each other on.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. If I know anyone, I'm probably gonna push them your way. Like, you should probably go to V.Nance because it's probably safe. And I would agree if it was my daughter, I would want her to start off within a group instead of just kind of putting herself out there. And like you mentioned, situations that are not safe, and having to endure some kind of ridicule or humiliation, right? And so what you're doing is great again. So awesome. Thank you for that. Now, what I'm curious about is, how does somebody become a part of V.Nance? Are there qualifications?
Are there qualifications to be part of V.Nance as a model? Yeah, there are some qualifications. I usually list my application kind of form whenever I reopen spots for my management services. I would make an announcement of it, and then I'll post like a link to the application, and then there I will list like the qualifications. And usually it's, I want you guys to have a reliable source of transportation. I really want to make sure the models have, if they're younger than 18, to have parental consent.
Yeah.
I really want their parents to know what they're doing and to be like okay with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and they just have to have the passion for it. I really like helping those who have a genuine passion for modeling and want to learn and want to improve.
Mm-hmm. What's the traffic for your for VDOT? Is it extremely busy? Do you have a bunch of applicants coming in, and do you have like a bunch of photographers reaching out to you to use your ladies in their their photo shoots?
Yes. At first, it was kind of slow because I was still developing and no one really knew me yet. But after I started helping more and more people in the community, my name kind of got out there more. And so I do receive messages from different people all over asking for my help. And of course, I can't really help everyone at the same time. There's only one of me and like so many of everyone else. And but I try my best, and I usually try to respond back as quickly as I can. I also had assembled like a team of my own to help me respond back to all the messages. So the traffic is like, it is pretty overwhelming at times. It usually happens the most when I post. When I post something, then a lot of people tend to bombard my inbox with like, hey, we want to do that too. Hey, how do you do that? And everything. And with photographers, yeah, I do have photographers reaching out to me, wanting to help my models and wanting to also be a part of what I'm doing. And they're awesome. The photographers I worked with and connect with, they're amazing. Like, they're willing to like also train these models and also like help out and everything. So it's awesome. And the ones who I don't know, I always have to like vet them first, and always have to be like, hey, like, can I see your website? Can I see your past portfolios? Can I see like all that stuff? Like, I really want to like know who they are first before I send my girls their way. And then yeah, so I just try my best to like make it happen as smoothly as possible.
That's awesome. So, we're talking about positive things for now. So I kind of want to ask, what is the most rewarding thing for you about this whole entire V.Nance project or organization thing?
I think the most rewarding part for me is seeing my efforts have an impact on the models that I manage. Like, I like seeing their confidence grow. Like, I 100% promote chasing your passions and believing in yourself enough to make it happen. And like, I love seeing people like go for the creative hobbies that they love. And modeling is like, it starts off as a creative hobby for a lot of people. And if you really put your mind to it, you can actually make money from it. And people didn't realize that until like they start going into it more. And it's like, yeah, you can just like any hobby into a career if you really put your mind and heart into it. And so yeah, that's what I love about it. I love seeing them grow and improve, and I love seeing them start from like, hey, I don't know about this, to like, hey, I know about this, So that's what I love.
Yeah. What's something that you fear the most as a model?
As a model, like what I fear the most?
Yeah, I kind of just thought about this. Like, I think about how people, you model. So, for example, my family, right? My biggest fear, if I were to model, is my brothers, my parents, and my parents and my brothers and my sisters, because I'm close to my sisters, but like my brothers and my parents seeing my pictures, it's like, that's my biggest fear. Like, they're going to see it, they're going to say something. So that's one of my biggest fear. And so my question for you is, what is your biggest fear as a model?
Okay, when I first started, that was my fear. I was like, I don't want my parents to see me modeling and then to be like, no. But then as I kept going and I explained it more to them, and then I kept showing them, instead of showing them like in like embarrassment, like, oh, this is my picture, that I started showing them like, oh, I'm really proud of this. Like, I worked really hard on this. What do you guys think? And then that kind of changed their way of looking at it. Before they were like, you need to be careful with that and everything. But then now they're like, you know what you're doing. You love what you're doing. We support that. And so, yeah, that was my main fear. And also like with jobs and employment and stuff, I was really fearful that like my modeling could impact like my positions, like, since I work a lot with children and everything. So that's why I like pretty much in one place, and I try not, and I always maintain like an image for myself. I never push myself past a certain like comfort level. Like I'm like, I'm good here and I don't need to do this type of modeling. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. So let's see. I'm going to move on to my questions that I have for you are actually done. I don't have any other questions that I want to ask you, and so I'm going to go ahead and ask questions that our viewers may have. So we'll go there, and then we'll probably end the interview in a couple of minutes, but I think we're good for now. So let's see, we have one question. Awesome. So you can also read it on the screen. Okay, so we have a question from Carbu, and this person asks, is there a vetting system and is there a reporting system when someone does feel unsafe?
Vetting system for working photographers, I usually only allow one of my models to work with a photographer after I have worked with them. So I want to know how the photographer is like beforehand. And I always tell the model, like, this is how this photographer works. This is what they say. This is how they direct. So I want them to know that if they do direct a little harshly, for the model to not take it personally, because it's like, oh, I know this photographer. When he works, this is how he directs and stuff. And you have every right, if you feel uncomfortable, to say something. Like, I always tell them, like, you guys have every right to speak up. Like, if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel like what they're saying to you is not right, is not like professional, then you have every right to speak up for yourself, and you have every right to leave. You have every right to leave and to tell me and to make sure I know, and to be like, hey, I don't want to work with this person anymore. Then I'll be like, okay, for sure. You have every right to do that. And so with the reporting system, I think that's actually a smart idea to like have a reporting system. But for me, my models, I try to make it as open as possible so they can talk to me about anything. So if they ever feel uncomfortable, they always just come to me and they're like, hey, I don't like how this photographer talked to me like this, and I didn't like how it made me feel. And then I would like process that, and I would try to like talk to them about it and see if really the photographer was wrong, or if like maybe there's another factor to it that they aren't aware of, something like that. And I always try to reason and understand them and make sure they feel protected, make sure that they feel like I have their back. And in everything, I'm like fiercely loyal to my models. I'm fiercely like protective of them too. So if anyone says anything like even remotely unkind of my models, like I stand up for them. I'm like, hey, you guys cannot say that to my models. You cannot treat my models like this. My models need to be treated with respect. So that's how it is with me. Sorry if I'm like talking too fast. Like whenever I like
you're good.
Whenever I ramble, I just like go super fast.
You're good. You know, it sounds so great to me, because I feel like these girls are in really good hand. I feel like they're with somebody who is really going to be there for them. You're standing up for them, and you really, really want them to, you know, have the best experience. So that's awesome. And so I'm kind of just thinking about this based on the question that the viewer asked is, you know, when these girls first come out to you and you give them their first experience, do you send them out alone or do they go out in groups?
With it, I give them the choice, but I always tell them, like, no matter what, I never want them to go to a photo shoot by themselves. Like, if I'm not able to go to a photo shoot with them, they need to bring someone with them.
Yeah, okay.
Or they need to, like, for sure know the location, know the phone number, and have, like, tell someone in their family of their whereabouts, and then tell me, and then have someone go along with them. Like, that's how I feel about it, to be safe. Because whenever I get asked to do photo shoots with someone I don't really know, I always bring someone along with me, just for safety measures and everything. So that's how it is. I try to make it out to every one of their shoots, but there's only one of me and like so many of them. So it's really hard to like coordinate a time in my schedule to like really reach out and go to each shoot. But then with them, I always make sure they bring someone with them to make them feel comfortable. And when I do bring them in, I always make it a point for them to introduce themselves to the other girls. So just in case the other girls are able to do the shoot too, then they can pair up and they go to shoot together, or they can go in a group of 3 or a group of 4. And usually they always just like there and they go together to shoot.
Okay. So my next question is, you know, because we're talking about safety, I'm thinking about, is there, you know, or do you have like a contract there that, you know, photographers must, you know, sign and, you know, agree to before, you know, these models go out, you know, because it's never guaranteed that it's going to be safe for them.
With the models, I for sure, I have a contract with the models to make sure that they're safe with me under my management. With the photographers, since I only allow them to work with the photographers I know, if they operate using a contract, then yes, the models have to sign their contract too and make sure they're safe, and make sure the photographer is safe too, because the photographer doesn't want to be put in a situation where they feel like, oh, I don't want to work with these new models and get like in trouble, And so I try to make it so then both parties like know exactly what they're there for and what will come from it. And I try to do it as professional as I can with contracts and through writing and through confirmations over and over again. Confirm. So that's what I love to do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This is great. Like I keep saying this, but I mean it, because you're so consistent, so passionate, and you've got it all figured out. So it's like I said, if I know anyone, I'm going to push them their way. Go to v.nats because you're going to be in safe hands. So let's see. As we wait to see if we have any more questions from our viewers, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to one of the last questions that I have for you. If we don't have any questions from our viewers from now until we stop the interview, it's okay. I think they can always ask you questions later if they'd like. But the next question I have for you is always one of the most important questions for me. I always ask all of the guests here what it means for you to be a Hmong woman. So for you, what does it mean, and what advice would you give other Hmong women or youth in our community?
Okay, I think to be a Hmong woman means to have an understanding of the challenges that we face, but not allowing those challenges to really limit us and what we're capable of achieving. I believe our Hmong women are so strong, and we come from a history of resilience and strength. And we should just continue on. And the advice that I hope to instill in other Hmong women is to connect with who they really are and to really pursue what they're passionate about. And also to not view another woman's success as a threat to their own, because there's a lot of competition in that aspect of it. So I just feel like we should just really root for each other, uplift one another, and go for what we want and what we are driven for.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you. So I know the time is up, so we're going to have to end our interview, but I want to thank you, Nancy, for being here with us. I think everything that you've said so far throughout this interview has been so genuine. And, again, you're 23 and I admire what you do. And I'm so excited to see the work that you're going to produce in the future. I'm excited for your educational, pathway in the future, because I know you mentioned that you're going to continue. And you mentioned a little bit about, you have you had like medical problems previously, right? But, I hope that you're going to, overcome that if it ever arrives again. And again, just thank you for being here with us. And if anyone should want to contact you, how should they contact you?
They can contact me through my v.nance page. You can just message me through that, or they can directly reach me through my email at vangnance@gmail.com. So yeah, either way.
Do me a favor. Can you say that again? It kind of glitched. And so you said Vang dot and then just kind of glitched real quick.
My email?
Your email, yeah.
vangnance@gmail.com. So Vang, NANCE @gmail.com.
NANCE. Okay. All right. I want to get this down so that people can probably see it later. Okay, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I just said go ahead. Okay, well, yeah. Last remarks for us before we end the interview.
I just want to thank you, Linda. Like, you're so loving and caring, and I love this platform that you're creating for your fellow Hmong women, and just not even Hmong women, but Hmong men as well. And I just feel so honored to be featured as an interviewee also. And I love how you're reaching out to people and having showcasing our community and who these people in our community that we don't even know about. And you're telling people hey, this is what this person does, this is what this person has accomplished. And then so other Hmong youth, they can look up to everyone and be well, then I can do that too. And I think it's so incredible what you're doing. So thank you so much, Linda.
You're welcome. So thank you again, Nancy, for being here. I definitely look forward to when you further your education with the speech pathologist. Because again, I'm really interested in that. And so maybe I'll keep in touch with you when that time comes. But again, thank you for being here with us on Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. So thank you, Nancy.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. If you guys want to reach out to Nancy afterwards, again, feel free to email her the email below, or feel free to reach her through Facebook. That's what I did. And, she responded to me. So that's the best part. But you guys have a great evening. Have a great weekend. We will see you guys next time. So bye, everyone. Bye, Nancy.
Bye.